Hey guys, Frozen here once again, and I'm here today to review the newly released Thor Love and Thunder, the fourth film in the Thor franchise and the 29th film in the MCU overall. It tells the story of Thor being retired for peace and stays with the Guardians of the Galaxy after the events of Avengers Endgame. But Thor's peace gets interrupted when Gorr, the God Butcher, goes on a quest to cause the extinction of the gods, so Thor must stop him with the help of Dr. Jane Foster aka Mighty Thor as well as Valkyrie and Korg. When I first heard about Thor Love and Thunder in Comic-Con 2019, I felt concerned because I felt like we didn't need a fourth Thor film and I thought 3 Thor films were enough, but considering it has the same director as Thor Ragnarok, I still started having hope later on. Jane as Thor sounds questionable at first, but I started to become very curious to see how they would handle it. I was pretty hyped for the film upon the trailer releases. After seeing Thor Love and Thunder in cinemas earlier today, I gotta say the movie was a blast. It was such an awesome movie and I really enjoyed it. I've loved and defended the MCU Phase 4 films, especially the highly underrated ones like Black Widow, Eternals, and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. In comparison to those, Thor Love and Thunder is sadly the weakest MCU Phase 4 film so far. Not that it's bad or anything, but I just prefer the other Phase 4 MCU films. But if you were to count the shows, I do think Ms. Marvel is the weakest Phase 4 entry overall, even though I like Ms. Marvel. Since I said this is the weakest Phase 4 film, let's get to the flaws. The humor was disappointing because I didn't get to laugh out loud, only a few jokes. Considering Thor Ragnarok was one of the funniest MCU movies, this one looked like it was going to have the same comedic tone as that one. The first 30 minutes had some pretty great humor I laughed at, and the ending had one joke that was brilliant, but other than that, the jokes fell flat. The plot had nothing special to offer for MCU standards and felt a bit safe, although the story was not bad at all. But my biggest problem with the film was that they made Zeus into a complete joke. Russell Crowe was a perfect casting choice for him, but making Zeus a bad guy and a retard is just disrespectful to his character. This one's just a nitpick, but I didn't like that Melissa McCarthy made a cameo. But every good thing about the film just made me really happy. It's enjoyable from start to finish with not a single scene that bored me. Gorr the God Butcher is such a terrifying villain, and I gotta give it credit that the movie doesn't feel tonally inconsistent with the comedy and dark tone. Christian Bale gives his best performance since Batman from the Dark Knight trilogy, and maybe also Ken Miles from Ford vs. Ferrari. Is Gorr in my top 10 favorite villains of all time? Nope. But as I expected Gorr to be a weak villain, he really surprised me, but now great he was. Jane Foster was the standout as Mighty Thor, and the movie explains how Thor and Jane broke up and why Jane was absent in Ragnarok very well. Mighty Thor was such a badass, and I love how she's just as strong as Thor. Valkyrie is still awesome even if not as well-handed as she was in Ragnarok. Korg is just as funny as he previously was. The action scenes are awesome and I love the use of classic music, especially from Guns N' Roses. Welcome to the Jungle was a perfect song choice to use for the action scene with Thor fighting alongside the Guardians of the Galaxy. Speaking of that, the Guardians of the Galaxy were surprisingly well handled here. I understand that they were only in the movie for 20 minutes, but this is Thor's movie, not there. It said in the after credits that Thor will return, so that means he will be in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. One thing Love and Thunder did better than Ragnarok is the visuals. It's much more colorful and beautiful to look at, and I love the addition of a black and white scene, which was just brilliant, and the ending is very emotional as well. I cried in the ending, and you might too. I won't say what happens, but I'll just say I'm worried about what Harry Thomas might say about the ending. I'm not gonna force opinions, but I will say before judging the ending, see what happens in the post-credit scene first. So overall, Thor Love and Thunder did not blow me away, but I still had a blast with it, and this is my second favorite Thor movie. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'll give this film an 8.5 out of 10. So that's all for my review of Thor Love and Thunder. Comment down below, like, subscribe, and stay tuned for my video on defending MCU Phase 4 because I'm getting tired of the MCU hate nowadays. Bye guys.